Hi ladies, good afternoon. It is Sarah Shipton here from Scrapbooking with Sarah, and I'm coming live to you on Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024 for this week's Scrapbooking Challenge. And I am super excited to share these photos and this week's Scrapbooking Challenge with you. If you are in the South Pacific, Australia or New Zealand, then you will know that we just celebrated Father's Day on Sunday, on the weekend just gone. And so in true spirit of Father's Day, what I thought I would do is share some Father's Day photos with you of my family from Father's Day last year, 2023. So unfortunately, many of you know that my hubby is actually what we call a FIFO, husband and dad, or for those of you that do not know what FIFO stands for in Australia, FIFO stands for fly in, fly out. So he is a remote worker, and he works in the oil and gas industry in the Cooper Basin. And so he works a 2-week on and 2-week off roster. So we quite often do not celebrate calendar specific days such as Father's Day if they happen to fall when he is in the field. And this year it did. And last year it also did. But what we do is we celebrate Father's Day on a different day. So we do love that. It looks a little bit different to calendar specific days. And so I think the really fun thing with that, the thing that we love about that as a family, is that we don't have to celebrate things on a calendar specific day. And in this instance here, he got 2 celebrations. So we actually had 2 different events that we celebrated together as a family for Father's Day. And I've got a combination of photos here from 2 different events, which you may or may not pick up. And I'm also using black and white photos today. So I'm going to talk you through a little bit about some tips on when and why I use black and white photos in my scrapbooking. And I'm going to talk to you also a little bit about a technique which is called second generation stamping. So I have done some second generation stamping in each of these stamping clusters here on my scrapbooking layout. So let's start with the pattern that we have used for this week. First of all, I have used pattern number 16 from the Make It From Your Heart Volume 6 book. This was a how-to pattern book that was designed by Close to My Heart, who I was previously a maker for. And as I'm transitioning over to Stampin' Up, we were in the middle of my weekly scrapbooking challenges. I was midway through using this particular pattern book, or maybe actually another one, and we've moved on to this one since. But either way, the thing I love about using scrapbooking patterns in my layout, I'm a very big fan of the scrapbooking workshop kits. So for those of you that have transitioned over to Stampin' Up with me from Close to My Heart, you will know that I work with a monthly featured scrapbooking kit. Now, Stampin' Up is a little bit different in that they don't feature a paper collection or a paper suite of the month as such. So we are about to release a mini catalogue, and in fact, let me just grab that. Okay, so this is the mini catalogue that we are releasing tomorrow. It's going to go live on September 4th. And inside the mini catalogue, there are 7 different paper suites. Stampin' Up also released a scrapbooking brochure, which I have posted in the Facebook group. If you are on my MailChimp email listing, I have also emailed that to you as well. And the scrapbooking brochure, which I can share with you, the scrapbooking brochure features 4 different scrapbooking workshop kits. This one I'm allowed to share live on video now, but this scrapbooking workshop kit, Reindeer Memories, and also Snow Day actually feature with 2 paper suites, actually coordinate with 2 paper suites which are inside this mini catalogue, okay? And so, as many of you know, I'm a big fan of the scrapbooking workshop kits, and I would normally be teaching with one of the paper suites this week, given that it's the first week of September. However, because as this book doesn't go live until tomorrow, and there wasn't a pre-order period as such for the scrapbooking workshop kits, we are working with a little in-between collection this week, which is a collection from the annual catalogue, and it is called Take to the Sky. So I thought that this would be a really great timing to share some of my favourite Stampin' Up! Paper suites with you, and also because we just had Father's Day on the weekend. So the reason why I digressed a little bit there, I apologise, but the reason why I use the how-to patterns is that when you work with a scrapbooking workshop kit, for example, Reindeer Memories, this will definitely be a scrapbooking workshop kit that I will create with. When you work with a scrapbooking workshop kit, it actually comes with an instructional guide to help you to create 3 double-page scrapbooking layouts. Now, when I'm not working with my scrapbooking workshop guides, I like to use my how-to patterns because it is just a really simple and easy way for me to create a scrapbooking layout. You can see here that you've got the pattern, or sometimes this is referred to as the blueprint. And these patterns that you're seeing here are exactly the same as the type of patterns that we would have used in our scrapbooking workshop kits with Close to My Heart, and which you are now going to see moving forward in the scrapbooking workshop kits with Stampin' Up! So this particular pattern features 7 photos across a double page spread. The thing I love about this pattern is that you've got space for 3 portrait photos. I typically take a lot more portrait photos these days because I use my iPhone to take photos, and obviously most people just point and shoot with their phone, and so the majority of your photos end up being portrait size. I do, if I'm traveling specifically, or maybe even like if I'm out for a special event, like a family event, I try to take a photo and portrait and then a photo and landscape. So I've got options when I go to print my photos, because depending on the pattern that I'm using, obviously the orientation of the photo needs to suit the pattern that I'm working with. So knowing that I was going to be doing this pattern on this week, what I did was I specifically printed my photos in black and white because I wanted to teach that this week and give you some tips on that. But I also chose photos that were predominantly portrait to go with this particular layout. So as you can see, I don't scrapbook in chronological order. This is Father's Day from last year. But then I store my layouts in a D-ring size album because that is really easy for me to move the layouts around. And then when they're ready to go into their home, I put them into a postbound album when I've got enough layouts to complete a postbound album. So I do have an interim storage space where I store my scrapbooking layouts. So this particular layout will go into a 2023 family album. So when it is ready to go into my 2023 family album, it will go into that postbound album. So the patterns are super helpful for you to do your scrapbooking layouts with. And the thing I also love about the scrapbooking patterns is that you can take any paper suite that you have. It could be a stash or leftover paper that you've got. And let's face it, girls, we all know that we have plenty of paper. It could be a particular pattern that you love a lot and you just want to recreate it again and again and again, but with a different pattern of paper. And in fact, what my intention is to do with this week's pattern is that when the mini catalogue goes live tomorrow, that is when I'm allowed to share with you the products that are actually inside this book online. When this catalogue goes live tomorrow, I'm going to share with you this pattern again, but using papers from the mini catalogue, just so you can see how versatile and how easy it is to be able to recreate a pattern multiple times, but just simply by switching out your papers. So obviously you're going to need your base pages for your scrapbook layout. I've chosen 2 sheets of White Daisy. Now, moving forward with Stampin' Up, they did purchase the Close to My Heart White Daisy cardstock, which will be called White Willow, and you will be able to purchase that in a 12 pack. Okay, so it is the White Daisy paper that you know and love. If you have transitioned with me from Close to My Heart, then this is the cardstock base I've used. I chose White Daisy because I'm doing the stamping on here. However, I could have used another coordinating cardstock to go with my paper suite. Now, because we are in September, I did share this with my customers at workshop the other weekend, is that because now all of the Close to My Heart branded product that's been released has finished, in that it's still available on my website. You can go into my online store and you can purchase the Close to My Heart branded product. That is now available for everyone, but I'm not going to be teaching with any of those Close to My Heart collections that we released in the last 4 months. So if you purchase Enjoy the Ride or Lake Life, or we had Gnomes for Summer, Soda Pop, and also Secret Garden, you can still purchase those items. I just won't be teaching with them moving forward from September. I am going to be working now exclusively with the Stampin' Up! Paper Suites. So I'm working with Take to the Sky this week, and when it came time for me to decide to coordinate my cardstock, you can see here that there's this beautiful designer series paper. So this particular suite is obviously male dominated. You've got those beautiful, or masculine dominated, I should say. You've got those beautiful, blues and greens and browns. It very much makes me think of those dad pages, grandpa pages. You can see that we've got a coordinating stamp set here, Happy Father's Day, etc., etc. I did not invest in the stamp and the die cuts. These papers would also make great travel pages, and for those of you that follow me know that I was in New York earlier this year, and I'm definitely going to be scrapbooking some New York City photos with this paper suite, so stay tuned. One of the things that I love to do is share layouts with my scrapbooking customers, audience, and community, where we can think a little bit outside of the box. So while you can see this is marketed as, dad's cards, there's no scrapbook pages here because this catalogue went to print before they welcomed the Close to My Heart makers and customers into their company. Because this is very masculine looking, I wanted to obviously do a Father's Day page, but then I also love to share other layouts that are not so obvious. So definitely travel related for sure. So with the designer series paper pack, the thing that I loved about this, you've got double-sided papers, of course, but it also came with 2 sheets of, this was 12 by 12 inches, but you can actually trim this down and you end up with these little 4 by 6 inch and 3 by 4 inch pocket cards. In fact, I've got a couple here. So you end up with, these were leftover scraps. I've used all the 3 by 4, but I did have some of the 4 by 6 ones left over. So these 4 by 6 inch ones, you could use these that you're cutting down in your pocket scrapbooking. And they also came with some tags. So you can incorporate these tags into your scrapbooking. What I did with the tags was actually create a whole heap of different cards. And in fact, we made some of these cards at my quarterly team demonstrator day. So you can see these were the tags that we ended up with, and we made some Father's Day cards. I do cards as well as scrapbooking, but my card designs are very simple. I don't do a lot of technique based. It might just be some basic stamping and embellishing. So you can see we've got these 4 beautiful cards that we made. We've used the industrial trinkets on the cards, and I've used them on my scrapbooking layout as well. So these are the 3 by 4 inch pieces of paper that have been cut down. This is just designer series paper that I've cut down to fit my card base. I am still using the Close to My Heart size card bases. So this is 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. This was one of the little 3 by 4 inch cards or pocket cards that we cut out, and this was the tag. So you just cut the excess off. I've popped the tag up with some 3D foam tape, and then we have cut out a circle with the Spotlight on Nature dies. We've popped them up with some Stampin' Dimensionals, and then we've also used the stamp set Best Family Ever to stamp on those circles. So we've got To My Dad, and then I've actually turned these into birthday cards because Father's Day has passed now. I kept the cards that we wanted to use for Father's Day, and I've just stamped happy birthday inside these, and then I'll have these available for my customers as birthday cards. I've also used some of the 2023 to 2025 in color jute trim. So I'm going to run through this with you and how I've used this in my scrapbooking layouts and my cards shortly. And then again, you've got the industrial trinkets here as well, okay? So I do love that this particular designer series paper pack is great for my customers that like to do both scrapbooking and cards. But if you don't want to do cards, then you would use this 12 by 12 inch sheet for your pocket scrapbooking. These were just a couple of extra cards that we created with the papers, but not using the tags. And we have also used one of the embossing folders through here, and I've used that same one on my scrapbooking layout as well. So I'm going to share that with you today also. So when it came time for me to decide about my coordinating color cardstock, I've come to my annual catalogue here, and you can see on the bottom of the left-hand side page here, we've got 5 coordinating cardstock colors which match with this designer series paper. Now, you are going to see this coming in that when you purchase a pattern paper pack, you will be able to get the coordinating cardstock colors in a separate pack. As it stands with this annual catalogue, you cannot currently do that. So I had to come to the back of my catalogue here. This will be a helpful tip for those of you that are transitioning over. I had to come to the back of my catalogue here, and I had to find where these coordinating cardstock colours were. So copper clay and boho blue are actually part of the 2023 to 2025 in colours. And then mossy meadow, night of navy and smoky slate were all part of the neutrals paper collection, okay? So at present, you cannot purchase 12 by 12 inch cardstock in individual colours. That is coming though, which I'm super excited about, and two-tone. I have already shared a video about that. But as it stands at the moment, I had to purchase a whole assortment cardstock pack, and then I got 2 sheets of each of these 10 colours. So I did have these cardstocks already in stock. And then I also bought this twine because this twine coordinates with the 2023 to 2025 in colours. So I was able to use boho blue and copper clay on my cards, and I will be able to use that twine. Stay tuned, because you will see me use that twine more in my scrapbooking layouts. Copper clay and boho blue. I haven't got these in the right order. And then moody mauve and wild wheat, I have already shared. You can go back through my videos and my YouTube channel, but those 2 colours coordinated with the Paper Sweet Wildly Flowering. So I have already shared some artwork where I have used those colours. So I hope that helps give you some tips and ideas on coordinating up your cardstock. I went with the copper clay here for this photo strip here, and also the copper clay over this side here where I've got a little 3 by 3 inch photo, and then I've popped a flip flap over the top. I'm going to take that out shortly just to give you a close-up look there. And then with my photo mats, I've chose to go with the boho blue. Now, in terms of choosing your cardstock, honestly, I think the really great thing about Stampin' Up that they do really well, which Close to My Heart also did very well, was that they take that guesswork out for you. You've got the coordinating cardstock colours there that go with your designer series paper. I really don't think it matters what cardstock you're going to use, but given that I printed my photos in black and white, I did go with the boho blue just so those black and white photos really, really popped, okay? And then I've used pattern paper at the back here, because with this particular layout, you do need 2 sheets of coordinating paper. So you've got 2 sheets of that need to match, 2 sheets of 12 by 12 inch paper, and you're going to cut them. You'll keep it at 12 inch, but you need to cut it at 6 1/4 inch, and that helps you get your strip through the middle. You've got 1 sheet of paper here, which I used the copper clay for, and that's to cut down your little 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 inch square. And then this strip that goes through the middle to get your 3 photos on. You're going to have 1 sheet just for your cardstock. And then paper 4, this is where the zip strips used to come in really handy because you just need a 1/2 inch strip of paper. And what I did here was just cut a 1/2 inch strip off of the blue and grey pattern. So you can see that this particular layout has got no plain themed paper. It has no plain themed, by plain I mean aeroplane, not plain as in boring. It's got no aeroplane featured papers, die cuts, anything like that at all. And it looks absolutely gorgeous. So some tips on printing your photos in black and white and why I chose to do that. What I did was I actually also printed my photos in colour just to show you here. These photos were taken at a football game. So this is the team, the local football team in our city estate that we support. And as you can see here, the colours for the team are teal, black and white. Okay, so it can be quite tricky to often coordinate my football, and we do take a lot of photos when we go to the footy. It can be quite often tricky to coordinate my photo colours up with a paper suite. I would just normally use plain coloured cardstock, but it can be tricky. I love using pattern paper. I love using stamps. I love using other embellishing tools, but it can be a little bit tricky. So my tip for you is that if you have got some photos that you really love and you want to scrapbook them, but they don't seem to go with any of the paper suites or paper collections that have been released, just print your photos in black and white, okay? It absolutely does not matter that I have used football photos on this layout and they are printed in black and white. In fact, I think they look better in black and white, right? And then obviously all the copper clay, actually, that does suit quite well with the colour of the seats in the stadium. So any photos you've got, like sometimes I'll see a paper collection, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to do anything with that. Don't hesitate to print your photos in black and white, and then that way they are going to go with any paper collection you use. It doesn't matter whether it is masculine or feminine. This obviously was a masculine celebration. It's Father's Day, right? We've gone to the footy. We had another celebration as well where the kids took my husband, their dad, out for dinner. So we've got a dinner photo here and a dinner photo here. We then went to an escape room here in the city where we live. So we've got that photo down here. And then I've also got some photos of us mixed in with this at the football. So these are 3 separate events and locations, but because I've printed all my photos in black and white, you can't even tell that they are from 3 different events. Does that make sense what I'm saying, girls? Give me a little bit of a thumbs up or a love heart there. So I print black and white photos if I love the photos. Of course, I love the photos. My family are in them. I print my photos in black and white if I cannot find a paper suite to coordinate it with. And I also print my photos in black and white when I have separate occasions that I want to scrapbook, but I want to scrapbook them all together on the one layout, okay? So they are my 2 biggest tips for you for why and when to use black and white photos. Now, there are very obvious reasons. Special occasions, weddings, engagement parties, baby photos. Guys, you know the photos that sometimes, and you know what? The other thing I was going to say, when you look at photos in colour, so here are the other photos from the night we went for dinner at the pub. My son's got some red eye action happening here with the flash. I'm not wearing any makeup, which is fine. I quite often do not. So no makeup on there in colour. I actually suffer, I have a hereditary eczema, and so my skin is quite often red or itchy or looking inflamed, and so this is a great way. Look how much better I look in this photo here with black and white compared to my sensitive red inflamed skin there, girls. So, you know, don't hesitate. And I just love this. Look at this Adventure Rooms photo, like the black and white version of it looks really what's the word I'm thinking of? It looks really, it was actually a mafia themed adventure room that we did as well, but it looks really moody, right, in black and white. And in red, I mean, it looks cool in red too, but hey, everything looks better in black and white. So yes, you are going to have your normal photos that, like weddings, engagements, babies, beach photos, black and white look fabulous. you're going to have those photos that you know are going to look fabulous in black and white. But what about just your normal everyday photos? It might be you at a barbecue. It might be your kids playing in the backyard. It could be a very simple travel photos, obviously look amazing in black and white. We know those ones that just look fabulous in black and white, but don't hesitate to print your everyday normal photos in black and white, and you can really just use any paper collection that you want to help them really pop. So I hope that's given you girls some great tips on what I use black and white printing for. Now, I printed these in color because I wanted to show you guys the comparison between black and white and also color photos. I probably will still scrapbook these because it's not like I'm going to throw them out, right? So I probably will still scrapbook these. Maybe I'll do a scrapbook layout with some different papers and show you the comparison later on. But it will be that I will probably use those photos and then I'll put them in I'll give them a layout to my daughter. She actually does her own scrapbooking now, which is great. I don't have to scrapbook her photos anymore, but she will be 23 this year. So I might actually put a layout give a layout to my daughter to put in her family album. Or I'm actually still scrapbooking my son's photos. He will be 20 this year. So, I'm not sure whether I'm going to get him into the scrapbooking, girls, but he does absolutely love what I do. He's grown up with it. I've been scrapbooking for before he was born and teaching it before he was born. And he obviously loves looking at his photos and little mini albums that I've created for him and his mates over the years. So they're my tips on your black and white photos. Let's do some second generation stamping now because that is always fun. I also am going to draw the winner of our scrapbooking challenge for August. I'm just going to pop this to the side and get my Stampin' Pierce mat out. Okay, so I'm using this as my base to stamp on. And I'm just going to grab some scrap white daisy cardstock. I keep a 12 by 12 inch bag here with all of my scrap white daisy cardstock in, which always works really well. Now, in terms of inks, so when you're doing your stamping and you're coordinating your inks up on your scrapbooking layout with your papers, I use the exact same approach for coordinating inks that I do for coordinating my cardstock. So I've got 5 different colors here. Now I am slowly investing in the different Stampin' Up! Ink pads. So I didn't have any of these particular colors. When we transitioned over, Stampin' Up! Actually generated a document for us and our customers to help us to compare the current Stampin' Up! Ink and cardstock colors with the Close to My Heart ink and cardstock colors. So as you can see here, I've got Sapphire in replacement of Night of Navy. I've got Periwinkle in lieu of Boho Blue. I've got Pine instead of Mossy Meadow. And I've got Charcoal. Actually, the charcoal is probably a bit darker than Smoky Slate. I could have used a lighter grey, but there was a colour comparison chart. I couldn't really find, there actually wasn't a colour comparison on the chart for Copper Clay. And I went through my inks and there wasn't really anything that was jumping at me. So I was like, right, I'm not using a brown ink. So I went with just good old Sapphire Blue, okay, for my second generation stamping. And I am using a new stamp pad. Well, it's not new in the catalogue, but it's new to me. This is called the Of Art and Texture stamp set. I will drop a link in the comments below for all of the fun products that I've shared with you today. I do really love textured stamps. I love textured paper. You can see that I've used the embossing folder here as well on my journaling box. So I've cut down some Boho Blue cardstock, and I have used the Basics 3D embossing folders. I love embossing folders. I cannot get enough of them. And one of the embossing folders in here I specifically loved was this super cute crisscross pattern. Here it is here. This is my favorite of the 3 for sure. It is a smaller embossing folder. So you're going to cut this at, oh my gosh, 4.5 by 6 inches to run this through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It's a 3D embossing folder as well. So I have used that to put my journal box on. I've stamped Happy Father's Day, You're the Most Awesome Dad with the Trusty Tools stamp set. Yes, I did buy a stamp set just for the dad and the Happy Father's Day, because it was this, or I think maybe motorbikes. If you're not sure what stamp set to get, you can jump on my online store and in the search function, just type in Dad or Father's Day. But I actually used the stamp set for a little mini album class that I ran a couple of weeks ago with some 10-year-olds that made their dad a cute little mini album for Father's Day. So I have used that stamp set here. Happy Father's Day. You're the most awesome dad. And then I've ruled my journaling lines at 1/4 inch using my basic black Stampin' Right marker. I wasn't a fan of this initially, I'm going to be honest, but the pen I got wasn't super great, so I bought another pen to give it another go, and this one I love. I don't know, I'm funny with pens. It's got a 0.5 mil tip at one end and then a blending tip at the other. So I've just ruled my lines with the marker and then done my journaling there. So in terms of the art and texture, now I'm using a old Close to My Heart ink pad here, girls, because that was the coordinating colour that I had. But the technique itself works exactly the same. You are just going to press a little bit harder with this ink pad, because the Close to My Heart ink pads were a felt ink pad, and the Stampin' Up ink pads are foam. So these you can press, apply a little bit more pressure. You can press harder on those. That block's not going to work. I've got this one here. So all your stamping basics you will find in my online store and in your catalogue. So I've got my stamp on my acrylic block there. And what I'm going to do, as you can see here, we've done the second generation stamping. And in fact, what I wish I had done is actually stamped it a second time and turned it around and just made the splodge. I could have fit that in there. I feel like I could have made this splodge a little bit bigger. I do feel like it's missing something a little bit through here, and I might add something, but for now, it is what it is. So I'm going to show you first and second generation stamping straight onto my White Daisy cardstock. Typically, what I would have is some scratch paper, as you can see here. This is what I used yesterday. So I have some scratch paper to the side, and I will stamp first on my scratch paper, and then I will stamp second on my cardstock without re-inking it. And that's how you get your first and second generation stamping. So I'm just applying pressure onto my ink pad here. You don't need to rock the block. Did you love that, guys? You don't need to rock the block. I just sometimes make this stuff up on my own, and I don't know how I come up with it. It's crazy. My daughter's watching. She's going to be like, oh my gosh, Mum, seriously? Yeah, seriously. So look, you do not need to rock your block. See how, a little bit here, I've not ended up with ink around the outside of that block. I'm only applying pressure onto the section where the stamp is, okay? So let's do some first and second generation stamping. I'm going to stamp this once on this cardstock. All right. I'm just applying pressure on top of my cardstock, which is on my Stampin' Pierce mat. And then I'm going to stamp it a second time without re-inking, okay? And that is what you call first and second generation stamping. So I would love to know if any of you have tried first, or no, I know you do first. I would love to know if any of you have tried the second generation stamping before. Now, what I did here was I did the second generation stamping. And if you're wondering how I came up with the inspiration of where to do that, you can see here in this area, we've got a little bit of some blending and stamping here. We've got some down the bottom. I literally just was inspired by the scrapbooking pattern that we were using for the week. So I'm just going to pop this stamp on a block as well. And this one was fun because you can see I've stamped a little bit off the page here, or the stamp has gone underneath the paper. So my biggest tip for you with this is when you're stamping on your base, do all of your stamping on the base of the 12 by 12 inch scrapbook layout first, and then put all of your photos and your papers over the top afterwards. So I'm just going to ink this one up. And then all I did was I went over the top of my stamp to make it look a little fun, right? And what I might do is grab Oh, you know, the other tip I was going to give you guys for your second generation stamping, if you are new to stamping, second generation stamping is, especially with this particular stamp set of Art and Texture, if you are a new stamper or you don't feel very confident with stamping, or even if you are not a fan, right? This is a great stamp set to either start with or help build your confidence with, because the whole point of this particular stamp set is it's meant to look textured. It's meant to look rustic. It's not meant to look perfect. It's meant to look like little artistic splodges. Do you love my technical terms? Little artistic splodges all over your layout, girls, okay? It's actually meant to look like that, so don't worry about that too much. What I'm doing here is just putting my scrap paper down underneath my white cardstock, and I'm going to ink this up again. I'm going to go a little bit this time. What I was doing was feeding the stamp set one into the other. I'm going to go a little bit off the edge here, just over the top of that other one there. Now, look, I could use that now on a card front or a card base, or this could be a journal box. On my scrapbook layout, I could rule some lines here, and that could now become a journal box on another scrapbook layout that I do. So, so many different fun patterns, actually. I love all the little splodges and the texture look. So I know that I'm going to get a lot of use out of this particular stamp set. And in terms of your little embellishments, I have used on here, I've just put them here on my journal box. I've done a couple of different ones in groups of 3 here. It is going to mean that you are going to get a little bit of, we call them lumpy bumpies. They are raised. I don't typically use a lot of raised embellishments on my scrapbook pages because I don't like it being lumpy bumpy through my scrapbook album. But every now and then I will use them because I just love them so much. They look so fun. And you can use either side of these. So you can use the textured size up, or you can use the textured size down. You are going to get less lumpy bumpy with the textured side down. And you are definitely going to need some of the mini glue dots to use these textured, hang on, what do we call these? Industrial trinkets. You are going to need some mini glue dots. Now, I know many of you have got the mini glue dots from when we were Close to My Heart girls. I've only just opened these yesterday. I am obsessed with these glue dots. They are so much thicker, so much better quality. They come off the transition tape so much easier as well. So I really, really love them. They're just thicker and better quality, and the price point is also much better as well. So I know that's going to make some of you very happy. If you are not a huge fan of the lumpy bumpies with the industrial trinkets, whoops, then my other suggestion to you would be to invest in a packet of the Basic Grey and Smoky Slate Pearls. This is from the Country Woods collection, but you can see that the Smoky Slate obviously goes with Take to the Sky. It is not as raised as the industrial trinkets. You won't get that lumpy bumpy look as noticeable in your scrapbook album, so you might find something like that to be better suited to you. Okay, so I hope I know I have gone a lot longer today than what I would normally, girls. Always so many exciting things to share with you. Let's quickly do the draw for this month's scrapbooking challenge. So in here, I've got all of the entries for August. So there's 4 weeks worth of entries, and the lucky winner is going to win a designer series paper pack of their choice, one of the ones that was on the sale. So I already have them in stock for you to choose from, and an item of your choice at 50% off. I'm giving them a good mix around. I'm going to turn away from the camera now so I can pick our lucky winner. And boop, 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 our lucky winner is Kim Kazaza. Congratulations, Kim. I will be in contact with you. I will tag you in the video. You've got a paper pack of your choice and an item at 50% off. Have a great week, ladies. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and I can't wait to see what you create this week. Bye for now.